Okay, so okay, so I'm continuing my filming here. As you can see, a great big truck has pulled up outside for no apparent reason, as they often do. These big trucks, like this is nothing to do with the grass stuff that is going on down the back there. And the big trucks are a big factor in the reality now, for me anyway. See how he's just pulled there in front of my place. Now he'll just back. Won't actually, see what I'm saying? Like, what is he doing? Nothing. Just, now he's going to back all the way down the street. So he just pulled up in front of my place, stood there for a little bit of time, because I'm not sure how long he was there, basically when I come to the door. All these things are, how should I say, they're programmed to happen just when you appear, etc. You know, and I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to let the images show Henry Street, Leichhardt. There's the garbage tins outside. It is probably can't hear that noise down the street where they're doing the grass, but there's no grass to do. Basically, they did it a week ago, and they're now actually doing. That's why I was joking with the fella there when he cut one of the, and I have said things in the past like, how often do you do it? And most of them don't even know how often they do it. This shows you how programmed they are, or how, I don't, look, that's just how I see it. But basically, that's not really relevant. I say program because it looks as though it's just like, as though people don't know what they're doing. But of course, if you're paid to do something, you don't care if you're paid to do an unnecessary job, 100 times a day. You might even think it's very good, which is only natural. But like I say, it seems ridiculous because there are a million streets in Leichhardt, in Sydney, and there's certainly plenty even in my suburb, Leichhardt. So why keep coming down the one or two streets? Like down the park there, where they're now doing astronomical maintenance that they never did before 3 odd years ago, shall we say, and actually it's escalated down there even more. Like the maintenance on the street too here, even like coming back today to basically do nothing. But they're not even mowing the grass because they know they look absolutely ridiculous, so they're coming back to do the edges of grass. Since when, in any real reality, do you do the edges of every street grass in a city? Like since when? Like since when do you? Oh, Matrix plane. Come outside here, outside the house for a Matrix plane, but can't see it anywhere. I can't see the Matrix plane anywhere. But look, everybody, this is why the Matrix is bringing in the frequency today, because look. Someone in Sydney, or even on the other side of the world, is connecting today with some of us just for a little bit, because look at that sky and look at that sun. Can you see it? Is it coming out on my mobile phone? Because this is going to drive the Matrix God entity and its minions round the twist. I shall go inside, otherwise I shall have to confront a neighbour, and I prefer not to. Get inside quick. I was actually speaking aloud to myself, and I'm trying to smile here, but I had to come in quick because that was, a local neighbour. Well, actually more than local because I live, as I've said before, I'll come back here again. They're driving me nuts today because I'm actually supposed to be just sitting down and having a cup of tea or coffee because I'm actually a bit exhausted and was actually just going to do that and then try to get enough gumption to go actually down the street. So in a way, the Matrix always wins, as I say, or the the Archon God entity. I'm trying to be fancy here for the video, using words and things that may or may not make sense. Sometimes they don't even make sense to me, in the sense that names on entities that you really have not met face to face is kind of speculation. But either way, that was a neighbour that lives in the same block of flats or, housing department, which is like, affordable rent for different people that eventually apply. I can't go into details at how all these things happen for me. I only can say that I regret them greatly, because you sometimes like I wouldn't have considered that I would have ended up living even in a place where I'm living, even though it's not a matter of whether it's a good or a bad place. Obviously, it's not a beneficial place if negative frequencies, are all around and come into your actual living conditions one way or another, whether it be like with noise. There we have the noise, and I don't know what they're doing down the back there because there's actually no grass down there. And of course the dog has left a present there for me too while I was just doing this, and yet I've left the door open, as you can see, for the dog to go out there, but instead he has chosen to come back inside and do it on the floor. This I have to be very careful with because it gets me into deep water. If anyone watches the videos that are connected in my personal life, like I say, I come inside when the neighbour come back up because the neighbour went outside. Yes, the neighbour was walking a walking thing. Yes, sometimes my leg is a little bit sore and a little bit where I'm dragging it. So, of course, and this has been happening to me now for 3 years, right from the start, in fact, because I'm just going to explain this, and I'm not even supposed to be making a video. I ran upstairs to get the mobile, unprepared, haven't even combed my hair at that point, just sitting down to have a cup of tea or coffee, and then the noise started up. So I thought, hey, I shall run upstairs and get the mobile, turn it on. It takes me a while even to turn it on. It always plays up a bit, or my fingers, it's so sensitive. It's got a life of its own or a mind of its own, whatever. But either way, the neighbour come up, walked just down a few houses and then doubled back while I was filming. So I would have had to have spoke to them. As sometimes if you're very close to people, you have to acknowledge them and engage them, knowing that they may or may not be totally the Matrix. Look, everyone around here is totally of the Matrix one way or another. The only question is they know that they are part of a systemised control, suppression of me and any other human beings. I do not know any other human beings, so I just can only speak for myself. But, many of them do it for different reasons, no doubt, but they all know they are part of it, consciously. It's just a question of how serious they actually think it is. That would be my only question in this scenario. I have no doubts that everyone knows what they're doing and that they know they are part of a collaborative, systematic suppression, patrol, lost patrol, as I said in the other video, that is patrolling and monitoring in a negative way. See, none of this is actually positive. I mean, at least not, you could say, just looking under the blind there, you could say, I have to talk over the noise, so I will get it all muddled up. I get it muddled up even when there's no noise, so you can imagine what it's like with noise. Now, and I'm nearly treading in the dog's business there. See, the dog nearly got me. The matrix gets you one way or another. I'll have to pick that up soon. See, that's what I say. Just this simple example of the matrix, okay? Simple. Simple in the sense that, the video. Okay, so forget about the neighbours, forget about the whatever. I've totally lost my train of thought. Totally. And the flies are coming in through that little slit in the door that I've opened there too. So these are small things, but on a continually daily basis. Now, what I was going to say, but sorry about that. Sorry about the visuals, but to be honest, I lost my whole train of thought there. I was going to make a valid point to this matrix and to see I've got people all around. You've got people here, you've got people at the side, you've got people. So actually you feel quite surrounded, and they're using noise, and now there's a car going up the thing. Now they're pulling Now they're moving and pulling the garbage tins around. But this is also very much showing a systematic matrix, if you want to look at it, because those people that come are actually pulling the garbage tins, whereas normally individuals like myself, you'd take your own garbage back. So that shows that these people that come round to do the maintenance are in with the people in these flats here, in a way, if you want to look at it that way. Because and also they don't do, my front is left. If I take you out here, look at my front, just have a look. I'm just going to show you an example of how this is not for even everyone, because look at my place. Like everyone, they've gone all down the back and did all the leaves, all that noise when there's no grass down there. So they basically cleared all the leaves up down the back, just in every other unit in the place here. I don't want to sound like a whinger, but this is just showing the practicality of the matrix, how the matrix mind and its entity works. Now, look at my place, because I'm part of this unit too. There's only 7 units. Now, I spoke to the gentleman that was doing the grass here and gave him a pat on the back, more or less, for doing his unnecessary grass keeping. Oh, the little pigeon sidetracking me there. That's a bright note. But that is a sidetrack though too, because you notice how it's taken me off my frame of thought. Hello? Hello? There he is, and we're not going to say nothing. Oh, look at the way look at the way he's looking at me. Look at what he's doing, the way he's cocking his head. I'm not entirely sure if that is entirely hello? Hello? Oh, he's a very pretty bird, isn't he? Oh, I think I don't want to frighten him. He's probably looking for something to eat, which I no doubt will give him. Hello. I'm just going to pretend that I am part of the scenery here. Ah, little matrix plane going overhead. Oh, that is the most silent plane. It almost looks and sounds not real. Well, they're all clearing out. And all that noise for absolutely, really unnecessary work, but still. But look at that. You see, this is because, and you just wait and see something. If I stay out here with this mobile in the daytime, look at that sky, everybody. This is for one. This is for one. This is for the one. I'm getting excited. There's a little bird. Oh. But look, forget the people even. Forget the negative ones of the matrix, which you may see or may not see. But look at that sun today. Wow, people. Wow. Someone out there, even on the other side of the world, could be bringing about something today. Look, my foot is very sore, but I'm trying to be excited, for one, about that. You've seen my other little videos recently, and I actually deleted a few where there was terribly murky grey. Normally this is murky grey sky all the time, all over the sky. And it only takes negative frequency at a human being, negative frequency and vibration directed at the human beings that are here, to bring that sky murky. But look today, it won't last, because there's too much negativity. See, even that activity with the grass was trying to override, but someone out there, maybe a long way away, is overriding the negative frequency and vibration that is directed at me daily, even all that noise that come about. Look at that sky. Look at that sun. Look at that sky. Even the negative planes are being prevented from flying. That one that flew over was not your normal plane. You probably couldn't see it on the video. I don't know if this is coming out because I'm no good with the mobile. I'm very nervous out here because everyone is watching, even though it doesn't appear that way, but you can see. I shall go inside. Go inside. And oh, that sun. Wow. I'm going to just tell you something about that sun. I'm going to tell you something about that sun. This is serious stuff. I know everyone laughs at me, but it's serious stuff. Look, that sun that's up there today, look at that. That sun that's up there today, people. That sun that's up there today is a real sun, or as close to a real sun as what you can get. I know that sounds ridiculous, screwy, but I have been looking at the sun for the last 2 years, maybe less than that. Look, forget anything I say with the time thing. Don't take it to be accurate because I lose track of time in this matrix, you know. But if I thought about it, I could probably be reasonable. But that sun is not the same as the sun that has been here for the last 2 years at least, from in where I am, okay? I don't know about where you are or who's listening, but I'm just going to say, see, watch, look at that sun. That sun is there, right? Yes, that truck with its negative noise, I don't know if it's coming out on the mobile. It's probably not. That from just down there, that is trying to override the sun and the sky with its negative noise and frequency. Can't manage it. Someone is getting on top of it somewhere, and it's sending it right to me. Look, it's not going to change my reality. I'm still in a pickle. And when I go down the corner there, the buses will come up, and there will be noise and the usual negative kind of chaos that is the matrix. Human beings are a positive chaos. In other words, they do things all over the place, but it's all positive, whereas a matrix is chaos that is all negative and anti-life, anti-human. Now, all I was just going to say, look, that sun is up there. That sun is up there. That sun is up there. And orange is the colour of the matrix, by the way. I'm just going to say that orange is the colour of the matrix. Orange and a particular very light, they actually call it fluoro yellow because I actually asked. But orange and this green, what I would call a kind of very light green, doesn't matter. That is the two colours of the matrix. That means you are totally part of the matrix. You are actually operating for the matrix. If you wear that colour is basically quite common for me. But look at that sky. Look at that sky. I'm going to be in trouble for this, I have to admit. But see there, that is the sky. That is the sky today. Oh, there's a little bird there on the thing. There's the church opposite over there. There's another bird flying. I can bring those birds, or someone brings them for me. See? Flying. I don't know if I'm getting here. This is not my usual thing, and I feel very, very, very as though I am stepping into. Well, I step into the matrix every day, but you know, to film it and to put it on, you know, video is something I don't normally do. And I am hoping to do more, but I didn't plan this today. In fact, yesterday I actually said no more filming. only just my usual chats in talking, but the noise come up and something propelled me. I just got agitated, and but just while I can, while it is quiet here, let me just point out that sun again and that sky. A few clouds there, not much. Bird flew over. Birds flying, butterflies flying. I like butterflies and moths. Matrix does too, of course, but I would think that anything they like, they control and, don't really value. They don't value any real life. That is the reality. Now, perhaps I should go inside, but that sun is what I'm trying to make the point. And I'm long-winded and usual. Look, the sun, right? I'll keep it on that sun because you may not see that sun again for quite a while. But this sun has been out over the last few weeks. Not every day. Some days have been murky and cloudy. But I made a video and deleted it, to tell you the truth, where I had 3 days of clear blue sky and I was up at the window and I filmed it and decided not to send it out because there were too many local neighbours and people coming into the video, and I thought it was unwise to put it out for some reason. Or maybe I just got cold feet, as the saying goes, and hey, I'm a human in a matrix, so my feet are cold all the time, and my hands are cold, by the way. Are you human or are you denser? My signs are vital. My hands are cold. Are you human or are you denser? My sign is vital. My hands are cold, and my hands are cold. I do have very cold hands, always have. Didn't notice it myself till someone pointed it out to me when they touched my hand 40 years ago and said, "Gee, you have got the coldest hands that I have ever felt." And it's in that song, and there is significance to different types of people with the hot and the cold, etc. But I'm not saying that it means something, but it's probably differences in different, I'm guessing that it's difference in blood types, to be honest, but I don't really know that, to be honest. But either way, that sun today, is warm. And this is midwinter here in Sydney. Leichhardt. Leichhardt is my suburb. This is Henry Street. I'm number 3. And some people have said you shouldn't say that. Well, I say I am taught. The Matrix already knows that I'm number 3 Henry Street, Leichhardt, and everyone around here is... They're playing possum now. They've gone because I got the video out. Otherwise, they would have been here longer with all that noise. But that sun is defeating them today. Because I think, as I was saying in another video, the sky does represent things. And of course, there's been no plane. Apart from that glorified version of a plane that went over, because that did not make any noise, that plane, whereas most of the planes over the last 12 months have been astronomically noisy and low over here. But either way, that sun is warm. It is warm. That sun is warm, very warm. Now, I'm long-winded here, and I must try to keep my thoughts, because the Matrix does try to steal your concentration and your thinking, as you know. That sun will not last, but in fact, I made the video making the point that that the sun and the sky can be altered relatively quickly by good or bad, or positive or negative frequencies and vibrations that come, or thoughts even, because I don't fully understand this reality, as you know. Well, you're probably saying, well, you might not understand it, but you do know more than some people. Well, that may well be true, but, that's because the reality presents itself to me. But either way, that's not really the point. I make the videos on the idea that I do know something. Look, I put out as much as I do know, as much as I can, and I try to be as logical and practical as possible the way I put it. I don't want to go over the top with anything that, it's all a fairy tale in the sense that it's still how you see things. Now, but there is a real reality too. There is always going to be a bottom line basis of what is the real reality. Now, look at that sun. And the birds on the house over there, I don't know whether you can see them. But that sun has not been that hot or that warm for 3 years, okay? Something is happening strange at this time. But I can't sustain it, not alone. That's the problem. I know that this could be a reality, all the time. Now, I see things in this reality that other people don't see in some ways, but other people may well see more than me too, because that sun is absolutely incredible, and I am not a sun worshipper. I can tell you that now. But that sun is incredible. That sun is unique. That sun is not the sun of the last 3 years. Not at all. Even that sky is not the sky of the last 3 years. It's not. It is unbelievable in the sense that all I do is observe my reality or what's around me. I observe it, I listen to it, I feel it, I see it. And that can't be helped if you're a human. In fact, most of what I hear I don't like, as has been pointed out. I'm just outside my door here, a few feet outside my door, and I don't normally come out. But that sun that is up there is not the sun of the last 3 years. Not at all. This is the point that I was going to make, that I forgot to make, was that when those men come around to do their maintenance, so I'm going to do a maintenance video now, just in the middle of this. I'll get back to the sun if I can. But, that come round, they're supposed to clean up all the leaves outside of 7 places, because they're part of the department, which is part of Australia. It is actually a matrix, because that is actually part of your community, part of your local government, but not only part of that, but part of that's Australia. That's or even worldwide if you know the true reality. But I'm not making sense here. I know. I'm sorry. I'm convoluted. But I'm just trying to explain that they rake up everyone's leaves with all that noise that they create, blow the leaves, pick them all up on the few houses that are around here, and actually most of those people do it themselves anyway. But me, who can't bend over too well, so therefore cannot clean the few leaves that are outside the place. Look at the leaves that are left outside of all mine. Look at how mine is all full of leaves. All there, under the chair, everywhere. They could get rid of those for me. They could get rid of those leaves for me. They could get rid of those leaves for me, but they don't do, even though I've asked them to when they come round. But unless I go directly and ask them each time, whereas they just come round to do that for everyone else's, but they leave mine all full of all the leaves so that my place looks the dirtiest and the grottiest, even though I have OCD and like things to be, I'm frightened of germs. This is the irony of the matrix and of the reality that we're living in. Can you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know if you can. I'm probably not explaining it well. But they don't pick up a leaf. They leave my place looking like it's only just out here, and you can see the bag there. There's a bag that they didn't take for the rubbish. Now that was because there again, look, everything is of the matrix. Everything is of the matrix. Everything is of the God entity and its minions. Everything. There is no accidents, there's no coincidence, everything is staged, planned, set up, and down to from the smallest details to the biggest things. Now, I'll have to fold up soon. I'll be running out of space anyway, but the point about the sun, right? The sun has not been like that for 3 years. Most of the time the skies are murky, but recently we had a few clear days of clear blue skies. I was going to put a video out showing it upstairs when I observed it, and then I made the video the next day showing the murky grey skies, how one day it was completely clear and the next day it was murky grey. I feel very, out here on the street like this with it being deliberately dead. This is not natural either. They're playing possum again because of the video, because look, dead street again, middle of the day even. So actually that is... Apart from the noise of that truck, it's probably not coming out on the mobile, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because it shows you the noise of the matrix. That's just letting you know that they're around, that they're observing, that they're controlling everything. Okay? That was... So it did that again. It just makes that long noise. And in fact, a lot of the traffic makes, the buses all have squeaky brakes. All these malfunctions or on the road that happen daily, that even other people observe if you point out, but they'll just say, they'll say that's a particular condition of, where something's wrong with the car or the vehicle. But it's every vehicle, or most vehicles, especially the bigger ones, that can make this. And, of course, they just happen to malfunction as they're going past you on the road. They don't malfunction anywhere in all the miles they travel, just when they're going past you, because it's a bit like sometimes there'll be a siren. An ambulance going past and it'll put its siren on just as it goes past you, but then it'll turn it off when it's further down the road, That's the matrix, showing you that it is in control of the human, basically. That's how it really is. Now, like I say, I was putting out a video. I think I'll have to fold up because I'm actually feeling a bit exhausted. I'll continue this on in another video if I can remember. The trouble is that I forget everything and I get it muddled up when I make the videos because so many thoughts and ideas and things that I want to communicate slip my mind. But I'm actually... Oh, there's a bird up there. Look at the bird. See, even that tree there. Oh, there's a fly too. Flies are of the matrix. They're the negative ones that like to annoy you, whereas the birds don't, at least for me anyway. It varies from person to person, no doubt, okay? Now, what I would say is this. See that tree there? See how... Look, I'm just going to... bit frightened too because I know everyone's watching and they can see that I'm holding the mobile out and filming. Even though you're allowed to do that with mobiles, people point their mobiles at me every day. In fact, everyone on the street points a mobile at me every day. But they're playing possum here on the street. Playing possum. They're playing possum, as the old song goes that I knew years ago. They're playing possum, they're keeping a low profile, and they're playing possum for a while. And that while is while I have got my mobile phone turned on, pointing it at the street. Now, see that tree there? See how all the branches have all been cut off? That's to avoid. That's because in the matrix, you see, that tree has less importance than those telegraph poles or people that actually have complained to me in the past about that tree. And, and so they cut all the branches so it's only half a tree, even though it's the most beautiful big tree. And they cut them all to where it's half a tree. In fact, they did it once with the street, where they just cut all the trees almost down to half, just so that they avoid the telegraph poles, because the people at the matrix, see, they worry that there will be a fire and that they will lose everything, and that is how it is. Also, there used to be a tree here, right here. This is just, a few feet outside my front door. And yeah, we have a little plastic horse there, and we even have a real plant, and that is artificial. You'd say, well, why do you have artificial and natural plants stuck in your front? Well, actually, I have very little stuck in the front. Well, someone left those artificial bunch of flowers outside my place about a year ago. And because it's all dirt here mainly, apart from what grows naturally, and even that gets interfered with by the matrix, and it really does too, because whenever I think I like it, someone comes along and destroys it basically. But so I stuck them into the ground, because my auntie used to do that. 50 years ago, when I was a child, my auntie used to have a house. Hers was a controlled house too, come to think of it, but she used to stick all artificial flowers, because she couldn't garden, but she wanted to impress the neighbours, like as is the case of most matrix people. She stuck artificial flowers all in her front, but from the street it looked as though they were all natural, so she actually looked as though she had a flower bed in the front of her place. And so I thought, oh well, if it's good enough for her, I'll do it, because it still looks better than dirt. Because I actually can't garden, don't know how to garden, and also the matrix wouldn't let me anyway. I mean, I wouldn't be able, if I was in a place all on my own and maybe I was shown how, maybe I could actually enjoy it. I do think it's a good thing for people to grow things. And as you can see, I do like the trees and different things. And yet I am condemned in Leichhardt and Henry for being anti this and anti that. Of course, I'm aware that everything is not as it really is. But, that's the confusing aspect of the matrix, is what is natural and what isn't. Are you meant to defend what you think is natural when you know that some of it isn't, and most of it is not really, that it's artificial? Now, that's interesting, and that I'll have to think about and get back to, because I'm actually getting a bit stressed out here. But either way, it's playing possum out here. Look at this. This is daytime, and we have not a car coming down. They've all cleared out from the minute I brought this out, as you can observe. Because in the daytime you get even more, because there's an excuse to have a lot more traffic in the daytime than in... Yeah, that house is starting up some noise just over there. So you can't hear it on the mobile, unfortunately, but they're starting up. They're doing some work inside, that's the frequencies coming over here. Don't forget that these frequencies that everyone is emitting deliberately, not just bring the human frequency and vibration or your mood or your well-being down to zilch, but it also prevents sending of positive thoughts. Not that you would even be thinking positive thoughts, as I'm not most of the time, because, I'm not a plane either. Where is a plane? But there is one coming now. See if we can get a matrix plane. Oh yeah, there we go. Here we go, a matrix plane. Hello, matrix plane. Good morning or good evening to you. Not sure if I got that in. Probably didn't. Ah, there we have men in green down there. You probably can't see them on the video. See the green colour that I'm talking about? So many people in Leichhardt wear the colour orange or the colour green as a jacket or on them. Even civilians, but mostly so-called work people. But there is always people down this street in the colour orange or green. There we have negative frequency coming from that very house where the green is. Can you hear it? They're always bending over in their cars pretending to do something, the orange or the green jackets. Hello, little birdie. They can't stop your blue sky today, can they? But there is negative frequency coming from that house, but it may not be being picked up on the mobile. The mobile picks up my voice mainly, unfortunately, so I'm filming these things to show the practical bang, bang, bang there. It's not coming up, but they're banging in that house over there as well as down there, as you unfortunately see, so I look a fool. But either way, it's not relevant. Oh, the little birds. Yeah, there used to be a tree here. I'm just going to say this while I'm out here. It hadn't occurred to me to even say this used to be a great big tree here. Well, it was relatively big anyway. And the neighbour... And the neighbourhood came along and poisoned it and cut it down while I was out shopping, and it's gone, as you can see. It was a great big thing that went up quite high. They did complain to me about it for quite a while beforehand, but they couldn't actually get rid of it for quite a long time, and then they pretended they didn't know what had happened when these workmen, which were clearly council workers obviously, because they weren't came and cut it down, and I was not able to converse with them, so I don't even know what their reasons were. But no doubt it had something to do with it getting close, because the neighbours were complaining about it being too close to these telegraph poles, the same as how they, so that's the way of it. But then they pretend that they're green, like we live in what they call a green suburb in Leichhardt, where they're all about preserving everything, and yet they cut down more trees than anywhere else at a local level, and yet they put green placards that they're part of the Green Party, which means conservation of trees and wildlife and all that stuff. It's a reverse world matrix. I see it at a local, personal level. And no doubt this is the Earth matrix too. That's all I do is observe. Been forced to observe over the last 3.5 years. Took me a while to figure it out, but you really only have to observe. If you just use common sense and say what people say and what they actually do, two different things most of the time, and even that is hard to pick. But if you assume that they're all a collaborative effort, which they are, then it's just all about bamboozling and tricking and playing the human being at all levels, basically. And they do that successfully to me and you on a daily basis. It's a bit like, I like privacy, so I wanted to put a fence around this place here, but of course I don't own the place, so I'm not going to spend money to do that, and I actually want to leave. I wanted to leave for years and years. I wanted to leave here even before the matrix opened up and closed down and exposed itself. But of course then of course all the neighbours, see the neighbour put up a fence around their place, because you see she doesn't watch anyone next door here, no. She likes privacy like me, because she actually, at her own expense or someone else's expense, because it's a matrix so that everything gets covered, put up a fence. So I have no privacy, no fence. This was only in the past. Now, of course, I don't care, because I realise there is no such thing as privacy in a matrix. None at all. None at all. A matrix is not about privacy. A matrix is about the opposite to privacy. And I'll just fold up now I was going to mention the sun, and yet I've rambled on about all sorts of inconsequential other things that you may or may not think are real or valid. Or you may think, hey, it doesn't matter if they're real, she's just whinging about local situations and problems that other people would probably see as a benefit. Most people lap it up. You know, that's the meanderings of the matrix. That's the meanderings of people of the matrix, that they walk past and then they wonder where they are and they decide to just walk back. Like that fellow, he just walks. People didn't do that in the past. People knew where they were going. Real human beings know where they're going. They don't do. They don't walk outside their house, walk in front of me or my place, and then walk back to somewhere else. If they were going, but that's the matrix. You see, these people are very programmed. I wonder if they even know what they're doing. I assume they actually do. I think they're a collaborative effort that, I'm going to use that word synchronistic to feel important here. There is real synchronicity with human beings, but the matrix also has its version of being synchronistic. Like I say, it's a very good imitation of life in every aspect. But it's not natural, random, real life. It's a matrix. It's a matrix. That's what it is, a matrix. Despite that sun being overwhelmingly bright today, look at that. Oh, I don't know even how this is coming out on the video. I can't even look at it. That's the point that I was going to make, and I'll just fold up here. I don't know if I'll send this video out. I should. But I'm so concerned that we have a matrix one. When I say a matrix, because even though you couldn't see it, the lady in that car had an orange jacket on. You see the colour? Now, what are the odds on that? Orange is not really a colour that most people would wear very often. I know myself, because it's very bright and it's very obvious. But the one in that car, and also she's gone down now, she's pulling in. You might see her get out, hopefully. But, I don't like doing this because I feel like, I'm part of the matrix filming it. But what can you do? But I think there might be someone coming with, Also, although you can't see it, and I don't know if I'm holding the mobile correctly or not, but, that car pulled in. And of course this is not something that I would normally focus on. But you see, I can't even look, but is that not... I can't see if it's even coming out, and I don't want to look at people directly, so was that not an orange jacket? Either way, and there we have another fella that's just walked down and walked in front of me, and now he's turning around. And then, of course, we have someone coming out that same house in front of me. See, this is matrix stuff. This is matrix people. This is where they come and cross in front of you. And, But either way, I'm actually embarrassed to even be part of it and even to be filming it, to be honest. It's just a disgraceful display of what has now happened to our earth, basically. That people are, behaving like this, and that they think this is normal and they agree with it. And that is because they're not natural. I cannot believe that these people could possibly be natural. I don't think they could be. I just don't think that is a possibility, And, they pretend they're doing work with their mobiles in their hand all the time, doing their jobs. And look, I'm not saying that there aren't some people amongst all these Matrix disciples that aren't human and actually stuck in the middle of it, but they would be so rare. No, they would just be so rare that, that you'd they would just be so rare that you would be hard-pressed to find them, I would think. But that's just, let's go to that final closing scene for one that will appreciate that sun. And no doubt one has sent that sun to me, because I don't feel that my frequency and vibration has been anywhere near strong enough, to override the murky grey skies. I was going to put a video out, but deleted it. If I actually had more space on the mobile, I could keep them and then delete and then send them out at a later date. But because of limited space, if I don't send them out fairly soon, then I can't make any more, because I don't have a computer or it's all just mobile phone, amateur, candid videos outside, really. But look at that sun. Look at it. The birds are tweeting. Maybe the Matrix is taking a bit of a break today. This is, like if this is a good day, you'd say, what are worse days? But basically it's the continual drain, and continual erosion of your spirit on a daily basis. See that house across there, over there, and down there. Both have machinery inside of them that can send out and make negative frequency noises. That house has been pretty much finished now, and yet they're still sending out lower frequency but negative noises. Some of it was astronomically loud. The mobile isn't picking it up. Even the birds tweeting is probably overpowering it. But it's there. I can hear it. So I'm getting a mismatch in my ears, and to my psyche I'm getting frequencies that are interrupting my thoughts, so I can't finish the video, and so that I get convoluted and look stupid making and what I'm saying. But also I'm getting positive and negative frequencies all in one, because I'm getting the little birds. But am I big enough to let the birds chirping override that negative mechanical technical noise that's coming from that house down there? And also it was coming from the house opposite, even though it wasn't coming. I don't think these sounds can come out on the mobile phone. Sound has to be very, very loud if it's not right next to the mobile phone in order to come out. So as you can imagine, some of those house test noises that I did and put a few up, that meant that the noise on the street was astronomically loud, because the mobile won't pick up a sound like coming from that house. So down there, see that grey house that's down there? That's where they've been doing a fair bit of work. They've actually finished now. That house is actually complete, but they're still sending out noise from that house. It's not as bad because they can't, because the matrix has to play it as though it's all real. Don't forget, this matrix is very clever. It has to play it as though it's all real. It can't overstep its own, it can't go like my videos into total fantasy to where it doesn't have a reason or an excuse, at least for me, to make the noise. You know? In other words, if I query it, which I probably will do, especially if I queried it to a person. Like, I actually asked someone, this is interesting, and I got into a bit of trouble over it, only in the sense that I mentioned it then to someone that I knew. Matrix plane over my head. That is one of the more pleasant matrix planes, I have to admit. It was white, and it wasn't as noisy as most of the planes or the big jets had been, like I say, many months ago, where they were coming every minute, non-stop, over the place, and really loud and really low. In fact, I could have got some spectacular shots of a plane. In fact, I mentioned it to someone when I was standing here with them, and I said, look how low that plane is. How far would you say that is from the ground? And they sort of, because they were operating as usual, as matrix people are under cognitive dissonance, they said, oh, it's way, way up there. It just looks low to you. Well, yes, it did look low to me. So I'm out of touch, and I can't tell if something is, appears to be just over the top of the tree there. No, and if the sound is so loud that you can't hear yourself speak to that same person. But, you see, that's the matrix. There is no real reality. They make their own reality. They make up their own excuses and reasons for every negative frequency, vibration and energy that is around. No doubt, even when they're deliberately doing it themselves, they rationalise it. Most of them would probably say, even if they were... Well, that's interesting, because that van that come down was a post van, and now that's a second post van coming down. But that one will actually probably not do much. But either way, that is just showing you that basically right from the beginning, when the matrix opened up and exposed itself to me, that was one thing that I noticed straight away too, was that immediately the matrix was drawing attention to the reality. So this is actually a very small dead-end street, don't forget. So you've got a very limited number of houses on it. Like I say, you've got the great big church over there. And you've got a great big bottle shop thing just right next door almost. That fella's just... he's just randomly taking his bins in, but that's fair enough, because you do have to take your bins in, so I'm not going to say that. But of course they do it just when you come out. This is where people, if you're trying to explain or show a matrix at a practical level, to most people it seems that you're too much in fairyland, overrating what's around you. I'm losing my breath here. I wasn't even going to make a video. I wasn't even going to talk about this. Supposed to be sitting down having a cup of tea or coffee and trying to collect myself a wee bit, because I'm absolutely exhausted and I'm dehydrated and I'm under a hot sun. But that is a spectacular sun. That is a sun for you, okay? For you that I hope and know is listening. And I'm being personal here, but I can't help it. And I'm not a personal person. I'm an antisocial person. I don't... I've lost my, to be quite frank, due to my own life experiences, I don't overly think that way. Oh, well, there you go. He's actually obliging for the video, if it's still running, and pulling right in front. And, of course, he will have a green or an orange jacket on. And he does. But either way, one last look at the sun. That is for you, because it may not last, but it's showing you what should be, what could be every day, provided we didn't have this. Matrix people collaborating and bringing this earth down. Another green jacket inside that truck. Probably doesn't come out because too fast going past. Squeaky brakes, not anywhere near as squeaky as most though, so I'll give him that. But either way, I was just going to make this point before I fold up here, because I'll probably forget and won't put it into other videos. But, you know, the Matrix, right from the very start, when it opened up and exposed itself to me, one thing it drew my attention to, I'm just going to show a lizard on the ground. I don't know why, if I can just do it. I don't know why I'm doing this. They're the only lizards I like, those little ones that are on the ground. They are fine. They are acceptable in my reality. And a little yellow flower. I have an affinity with those little yellow flowers, and at one stage they were, when I showed that I had an affinity with them and liked them and thought they had a benefit, they're really a weed, but they're a pretty little yellow flower, and some people think they have medicinal potential. I can't say one way or the other, but I liked them, and they started appearing everywhere because they are a natural growing weed. And the local council around here sent in brigades of people to poison them all off. And they actually put signs up, so people are actually cheering it on, saying, yes, we get rid of these pretty yellow flower weeds. And they basically did. And in fact, it was actually dangerous for you to be walking on the grass where they poisoned it to get rid of these. Essentially, this is what they are. I'll just show you. So what is wrong with that? That is not even a really good one, because, you know, some of them are bigger and some of them are smaller, but they're just harmless little yellow flowers. And I have a liking for these yellow flowers. So the local council poisons them off in all the parks and in fact, they even do it on streets. You'll actually see, because I was told this by someone. And one day when I went down Norton Street, which is just the main street down here, they had this huge, great big truck with a big sign on it saying we're weed control or something like that. See, they have weed control. Don't forget that to the Matrix, I'm a weed. That's how they see you. And that's how most of the Matrix people see you. They see you as a weed, and they don't like weeds. They don't care if they're weeds that do no harm and actually may even be a benefit, like those little yellow flowers. They'll just poison you off. Poison all, you know, and this is supposed to be a green area too, as I've said, so it's a very strange matrix. It's a laughable matrix for me that way, because in fact what I would use the word hypocrisy really, and you know, I think it applies 100% to the matrix. Hi. And you know, I better get my garbage tin. Got to be a bit friendly. But that is a beautiful sun. Look at that sun. Oh, look at that sun today.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It should
Different.
a bit different. Yes, it is different.
Nice to see.
Yes. Yes. Let's hope you can keep it going.
Sorry?
Let's hope we can keep it going.
No, I'm supposed to. Hey, Alfie, come here. Alfie. Alfie, come. Come. Now. Alfie. Get in here. Go. Go.
The Matrix people are starting to appear now. And some of them have their little mask and some don't, you know. They're trying to promote that idea, but some of them actually find them uncomfortable, even the Matrix people. So they're like, they just put them on for my display or for real humans, and then they take them off, you know. But because they know that that sun will kill anything. The heat from that sun, and you know, they'll pretend that they like it. Matrix people don't like that. Even the lady down the back probably. Matrix, have to say, you know. In fact, they're surprised when they see it, and they know that, you know, that it's, you know, we just walk on the road now. We don't bother walking on the footpath because it makes a better display if they show that we own the road, the street, everything, you know. In the past, 3 years ago, people would not just walk up and down the middle part of the road. You know, normal people wouldn't. I'm not saying I care one way or the other, but see, we have another one now. Look. Smiles from the Matrix. They're very good actors. They smile just like real human beings, to be honest. Some of them may even be real. See, I could be fooled. That's the joke of it. But I kind of doubt it because, you know, you have to judge the behaviour. You have to say, what do real human beings do? Mind you, I do some odd things, so humans do tend to follow other humans. But either way, I'm convoluting and making excuses for the Matrix. You know, I am now rationalising for the Matrix as the Matrix loves you to do. Because if I'm putting something and showing it to you, and someone smiles, it's very difficult to say that is an actor of the Matrix. Only you could decide that, and only those that are surrounded by the Matrix and are engulfed by it and are basically being suppressed by it will understand this, really, to be honest. Otherwise it just looks like total stupidity and me being quite ridiculous, as I have been told I am. But one more look at that sun for one. Oh wow, it's getting bigger and brighter. That sun has not been like that for 3 years, and they know it. That sun is hot, and it's bright. Hasn't been like that for 3 years. Rarely, on any day over the last 3 years, would you get that. And this is winter time too. And even the clear blue sky. For the last 2 years, you rarely got a blue sky. Rarely. Every day murky. Mind you, they've already accomplished the negative by having all that cloud cover and that artificial cloud, because that's not how it's meant to be. It's artificial, it's unnatural. It's not how a human being would make the reality, if you want to look at it that way. But I have to fold up because I'm exhausted, and no doubt I will have Matrix actors coming around pretending and putting on their usual. You see, you know, I play too, just like I play and interact with possessed. Don't forget, you know, don't forget, you know, we've done possessed, this possession thing, you know, is basically what is the reality for most people anyway. So you're not looking at real people, you are looking at a being inside a real person, if you want to put it at a movie level or at a fantasy level. But there is a practicality to it. There is a practicality to it. All I can say is that in order to see a matrix, you have to compare before. Of course, the matrix has probably always been here, but it's a question of whether it seeks to openly suppress you, and that is because of the time, and also because humans are aware of it, so therefore they are trying to bring about that and keep that going. I've never been a sun worshipper, as I say, because I just thought, hey, but some people can make the sun shine even if it's not shining. In other words, if you're a human being, as we have been conditioned to be, to where we try to make the best even of bad situations. I've been very much like that in my life, to where you tend to look for a few little good points to keep you going. That's why the matrix then comes down hard on people like that, and that's true of most humans. So that even if you are even if circumstances get a bit negative or the reality is not so great, they have to make it incredibly negative and to make you feel terribly closed in and very suppressed on a daily basis in order for them to maintain a reality which they are struggling to maintain, people. Struggling to maintain. That is for one. But it's also for anyone else that agrees and wants that. And I know there's more than one, I think, on those that listen to me, but it's still very few people. This is a big world, and you're looking at a handful of people. But if a small number are connected, they can occasionally override an entire Earth matrix that is negative, because the power of one, the power of two, that have real life is so much greater than all this noise, so much greater than all that is around me. Because all that is around is not that. They have numbers and the physical ability and the means, the technical means, at a vibrational frequency level to completely suppress and even annihilate real life. But real life, when connected to other real life, even in minute numbers, can produce that and override vast minions temporarily. Don't get me wrong, this sun is temporary. It won't be able to sustain itself. It should be able to. But, I don't know who I'm connecting with, but something is happening because that sun is bright. But it can be cloudy, as I shown in that previous video, which I didn't send out, where we had 3 days of clear blue sky and sun, and then on the 4th day, completely murky grey, and the next day, very heavy rain and very heavy wind, and the next day, similar, and then now that. It's a frequency, vibrational thought. I just threw that in, I don't know why, because someone has the power of thought that can do that. Because I haven't been focusing on the sun, to be honest. I'm a limited human being who is at a low frequency vibration. But even that low frequency vibration where I feel as though I am literally being destroyed daily, is still higher than all these matrix actors and performers and so-called human people that are around. They smile, they say hello. Some of them show their hand when you really look at their face sometimes. The words don't always match the expression, but they try very hard because they do go to acting school, which I will show you the acting school that they actually go to. If I could take this mobile just down Norton Street, which is just off Henry Street here, which is the main street, I could actually show you the acting school that many of these people actually go to acting school. They don't go to acting school to go to Hollywood. They go to acting school to act for humans around so that they can set up their scenes that are then put in front of real humans to basically keep you playing in this very bizarre, unnatural matrix where you don't really know what the real reality is most of the time, or should I say the real truth if you want to look at it that way. You know, because if you're looking for truth, you will find the reality. And truth is a word that will be bandied in the matrix too. Here we have trucks just coming out from nowhere. I wonder where they all even come from, you know what I mean? Because most of the time they just seem to come and pop up and, you know, they just seem to come and pop up. You know, this is a dead-end street, and yet the amount of traffic, or trucks even, the truck particularly, where you've got trucks coming onto it over the last year in particular, has been astronomically large. That's really all I could say. But I was going to add, and I should put this in another, I think I'll fold up, I hope that I can remember it. See, my trouble is if I don't say what I think while I'm on my raving or ranting, whichever way you want to look at it, you know, where I get on this thing where I'm making the video, so the thoughts come and I'll just try to put it, you know, if I don't do that, I forget it when I come to make another video. And sometimes it may or may not be relevant, but it is part of the matrix. It is showing you, oh dear, the naughty wind has blown the plastic bag off my door handle because it knows I don't like touching the handle because of my OCD. Of course, everyone's now got what they call normal OCD. People won't touch the lights, the lights, you know, the lights at the traffic lights and things like this. You know, I've been doing that for a lifetime. Now they do it and they say it's normal, whereas in the past I was accused of being out of touch and unnatural and not normal for doing it. But see, if you can make people do something at a practical level with what they consider to be reasonable, you can turn everyone into people who are basically uncomfortable and out of touch. Then we have our breaking my back to get that one in, even like it's going right over my head. But that's a small matrix plane. I like these small matrix planes. The only thing is, like I say, it means you can't go anywhere. So basically we're stuck. We're stuck in the mud of a negative matrix apart from a pigeon on the wire. Can you see him? He's probably not big enough. There he is, a little pigeon. Make your noise, matrix person, because you still cannot stop that sun from shining just for today anyway. And someone banged across the other side to let me know, yes, we will get on top of that sun soon. And I'm folding up because, you know, I'm very uncomfortable out here, and, you know, they watch you anytime, and I don't normally take the mobile out, so they, you know, but say goodbye, pigeon. There we go. There we go. One more look at that, people. One more look at that, people. And for those that really will understand, particularly one that will really know, and when I say one, it's one and all in a way, but see, when you are sensitized to sound too, you notice every big and little sound around you. So you can imagine when they send in what I'd call heavy artillery, you're really totally just finished. Because even now, I'm trying to listen to those beautiful birds tweeting and that sun up there. But, you know, I'm still aware that every house and every matrix apparent human is in opposition to that. And that is what a real human like myself and you, no doubt, want to have every day. And for some reason today, there has been a connection that I'm unaware of, you know, by someone or something from afar. I assume it's from afar, from the other side of Earth. And even that I don't fully understand or know. I don't assume it's local. But to be honest, I really don't know what's going on. I only know what I see, and that speaks for itself. And that, you know, and, you know, I was going to make the point, seeing I'm on the practical, candid, realistic side of the matrix where I try to show something, better keep it up there. It's very hard for me to hold the phone. My hand has been very sore overnight because there has been a lot of negative energy, as there is every night and every day, but particularly of a night time. I notice it, even though I'm asleep, but I certainly know what's happened when I wake up, and I sometimes am brought to a horror movie scenario sometimes by what goes on locally overnight. I won't go into details about that, but that's the matrix, and you have to be aware of it. If only more people were aware of it, maybe it would not be so. I don't know. But I was just going to say that 3 years ago I became very aware that, you know, just at a practical level, that, you know, I can hardly hold the phone to show you that quite brilliantly bright and very warm. It is very warm too, and you cannot put your eyes on it. Now that's something that I was just going to make the point, and I nearly forgot. In the old Earth, you could not put your eyes directly on the sun. You could not directly look at the sun. It was actually used to even say, don't look directly at the sun, it'll cause you a problem. Over the last 2 years, I have been able to look directly at the sun for as long as I want because it has no power. It has no shine. It has no glow. It has no warmth. Today, I am finding it rather hard to look at that sun. In the old Earth world, you could not look at the sun. It was too bright. But for the past 2 years, I could look at it with no problem. It gave off no warmth, no shine. It had there was nothing to it. It was under a cloud, you could say. And most of the time, actually, it was under thick cloud. That's actually true. But today, that is almost like an old sun, or how you would expect a sun to be. I'm not saying it's still the same, because I'm not a sun analyst, and I'm sorry that I haven't observed nature and the world around me more over a lifetime, because then I would know more and be more informative in these videos, because in reality I've been kept in the dark and kept away from nature most of my life, even though I actually like it. That shows you how the matrix can really subdue you in this world. And you might say, well, some people say, more excuses, it's always been there, why has she been kept from it? Well, I'm not going to go into that, but that's the reality. Goodbye, little pigeon. See you later, hopefully. I hope you're enjoying the sun. Come and get a drink if you're too thirsty, because actually I am totally dehydrated and must go inside because I'm absolutely dehydrated out here. That sun is so warm. And very little is happening because, like I say, you saw maybe a little bit of a matrix, but not a great big one today. Because, they play possum, even though it's the middle of the day, which means it's perfectly acceptable for more people to be around and more things to be happening. But that sun is doing something. Maybe that sun even, maybe some humans are actually even subduing the matrix a bit. I don't know. That's wishful thinking on my part, and no doubt it's not probably correct. They do wait their time, and like I say, playing possum, I'm videotaping here for an hour or two. That is just an hour or two of my existence. And, the matrix, I hope I'm sure I'm doing a lot of wrong angles here on my face where you're only seeing one eye or half a nose or half a lip or something, and I apologise for that, but I can't do any different to that. Of course, I do like to get a cup of coffee, and so do the matrix people. If they see that you get a coffee, they will go get a coffee and bring it home. Now, what person gets a takeaway coffee and takes it home? That is strange, don't you think? On the other hand, they say, well, she does it. Well, I don't take it home. No, I don't. But they probably think you do, or they just see you walking with the coffee, because you see, they have to imitate life, because they don't know how to be, because they're not life. There's something wrong with most people. You'd say, how can I do such a terrible thing as point a camera at a poor innocent woman walking down the street? Well, that's open to debate too. Carrying a takeaway coffee. In fact, I'm not sure where she even got that takeaway coffee from, because she must be remarkably light on her feet. But then again, I'm heavy on my feet because I'm matrix suppressed, so I do take longer to walk around now than what I used to, much longer. And I'm just going to make the point, and this is a bit of wit here. When the matrix first opened up and exposed itself to me, I became aware that my feet were not very good, and I was a bit depressed by it. And so I'm walking around slowly, as I sometimes do, drag my leg a little bit. So then everyone on the street, or not everyone on the street, but then you will see people with walking sticks and mobile devices, shall we say, those mobile things, which they know offend me. And basically, in other words, that is how the matrix works. Whatever a human being, even if a human being has got a problem, they will have to have more of a problem or emphasise that. Also, it hurts you because it's like in your face, like mocking, as if to say, yeah, we can make you use a walking stick, we can do this, we can do that, And that I was very aware of that right from the start 3 years ago, because I immediately noticed that just walking even a block or two, that you would see an abnormal amount of people on the street with a walking stick, and that's just, that there again, you have to go back to your reality before, or to what you think is plausible or real, and that's at a given moment, So, and this is the case, and I see this daily. So it's like, that's so that human beings are lost in the crowd, if you know what I mean. So we're lost in the matrix. I'm not lost mentally in the matrix, but I'm still lost physically in the matrix. The matrix makes that a reality, makes it so that I always look less in the matrix, because if I've even got a problem, then someone else will come along that looks more pathetic or more of a problem, so therefore you don't get noticed. So another human being won't see that you're a human being. They will probably think that the poor little old woman or the poor little old man that's dragging themselves with the walking stick, because you're still at least not doing that. You are suffering, your legs are hurting, and you are not walking like you should be walking. But, you know, and it's also, like I say, makes you feel uncomfortable, because they're like saying, we did this, we can do this, we can bring you to any level we want. We are the matrix, we control everything. Our minions are there, our actors are there, and yes, they can be glamorous and beautiful one minute, and they can be a poor little decrepit old walking stick person the next. You know, they can be anything we want to mimic what once was, or what actually shouldn't be anyway, because humans should never be, I don't think, at a physical negative level. But if you're in a negative matrix where you are bombarded with negative frequencies up against your positive frequencies at a body and a mental and a psychological level daily, of course eventually something's got to give, as they say, because there are minions. If it was just one person, you would override it if you were a reasonable human being at a reasonable level. Even that can be difficult. Here we have a matrix jogger. Very nice too. Yeah. Early morning matrix jogger. Some of them actually might not actually mind being on video, or maybe they think the video looks so ridiculous. But of course it's just a jogger. But you notice how she jogged right in front of me and crossed the road right in front of me. She didn't come like along a street. She come right in front of me from across the other side and crossed right in front of me. That's how you know a matrix from a true reality. So it's not about someone being a jogger. It's not about someone picking up rubbish. It's not about all these different departments or local industries and things doing their job. It's the fact that they converge in large numbers, or are intrusive into your path, shall we say, to where you're aware of them, and to where they're doing slightly unnatural things that only you notice. But if you were a real person, you would notice, because you would say you don't cross right in front to jog in front of someone. You would come up and down the street or go about your business. So some people would say that's just a coincidence because she's only filmed one. Yes, that would be random and a coincidence if it didn't happen all the time. That's how you know a matrix from a true natural reality. We don't live in a true natural reality. We live in an artificially constructed, controlled matrix with people that are part of that and control you and this reality 100%. And I'm losing track of the mobile here. I can't even see if I'm in the picture. I'm pulling it. I'm so sorry about that. Someone is sneezing. They're very close. I don't know where they are. Oh, that's right there. People that come out in the balcony just over there, but you can't see them, and I'm not going to bother with that. But I can hear them. And I don't want to seem like as though I'm, like this is a patrol reality. So I'm just filming it one day here to show it. And so today I'm reversing the role. So I am patrolling them today. But this is only just for an hour or two on one day, whereas they are doing it 24/7, 365 days of the year for the last 3.5 years, non-stop. And I don't know whether these people converge from other suburbs, or, well, obviously everyone in the suburb is part of the matrix, or most are. There are exceptions, I know this to be so, but they are in such small numbers. And they also don't know they're in a matrix, so they are not aware, so they can't combine with me in any way. I'm separated from them, so they're no use to this. This is coming from a long way away, I think. Either that, or someone is having a good day, even in Sydney, and they're unaware that they're bringing about with me, because it has to be with other human beings too, I think. creating that. Oh, I should fold up on that if I can press the knob while that is there, and just, oh, I shall try to have a look at this myself and see if I've got it in after all this rambling and ranting and videotaping, which I find very stressful to do. My hand is holding up rather well today. It actually isn't aching, but maybe the sun is giving my hand life, because normally when I hold this mobile, when I'm doing this, it actually hurts. And I can feel negative. That sun is overriding quite a bit today. But when I go back inside, I will lose the sun, because I have to go inside to get a drink, and maybe I've defeated myself because I think I'm dehydrating badly here. So the matrix always wins, as I say, one way or another. Even on a day like this, it will still defeat me eventually, because the day's not finished, and the matrix will have its way. But I still just have to, I just have to say, this is the first sun like that for 3 years. And 2 that I have been aware, because I haven't been watching the sun closely until about the last 2 years, maybe 2.5, but I became aware to look at the sky, because the plains and the murky sky certainly drew my attention to it, because I had to look up at the noise, and actually my body's starting to hurt here now, so I better actually fold up. Don't forget, there is still a lot of negative around, despite appearances. Mind you, it is possible, like I say, these videos were always made for the double-minded person, if there's any left, where they are of the matrix, but they have doubts, or they wonder why they're of the matrix. I don't know if such people actually exist. I assume when I first started making videos that they do. But that is the confusion of the matrix too, because we are in an actor society, an actor world. See, that could fool me to where I'm like, if I see someone smile and wave at me when they come past, I take it for what it is, because you have to take every little bit of positive frequency, even though you know that it is just probably like the demigods, smiling at you, seducing you, loving you, all with the purpose of controlling and suppressing and taking you over. So that's another thing. But like I say, the matrix is always confusing you, and that's a fact too. And it confuses me, because human beings like to see the good in things, like to think there's a possible positive side to everything. That is both their both what is should be a benefit to them, but in a negative matrix it can be used against you. In other words, your good points can also be your weaknesses in a matrix. The LOVE word will not always work out in a matrix, not if you're a real human being. That is a sad part of a matrix, I would think. But hey, don't listen to me, because I could be being too negative here, and I shouldn't be with such a sun, but I have to be realistic, because I can't be deluded. Or should I? Or should I say, hey, the world has changed today, there's no more matrix, the sun is out, there's been some sort of transition to where all the matrix people have disappeared, or they have backed down and decided to be positive frequency all of a sudden, and they want a natural, healthy, real world, and they don't want to be part of a collaborative control system, a part of a matrix. But don't forget, these people believe that the earth is meant to be a matrix. They believe in technology. They are technology. The matrix is technology. See, even I get bamboozled when I say that, because looking at that, I find it hard to believe. And yet that makes my videos even a contradiction. But that's why human beings are here, I guess. I don't know. Perhaps someone could tell me, because even if you think something yourself, you do need that reassurance. Maybe that's what the videos are for. That's what I now think, And unfortunately, even like I say, you're walking a tightrope. that will be my next video. I was going to do that in a few days when I had energy, and said I rushed out here because of the noise, because I thought, hey, I was giving that practical noise level matrix idea away. And yet I did do it, and now I've made a whole video, and I come out here and the sun's shining despite it. So there you go. It's a random candid video, and I hope that it doesn't look, I hope that it looks all right. Those birds just flew. I hope that my filming even is not all over the place and showing wrong angles. I can't help it. It's a mobile, you know, and I'm not used to it. Birds are liking the sun. Be better if they were bigger so you could see them. Oh, that sun is actually almost, it is so much. It really is. And that is right, you know, I don't know if it's how it's coming out on the mobile. I shall be interested when I get a chance to have a look if I can. Good day, birdie. Oh, I have to go in, I'm exhausted. I hope I've done something that shows something today, but it probably doesn't. I may or may not put the video out. I hope to, because I put a bit of effort in, and just that sun is worth it for the sun, isn't it, just to see the sun there? Some of you, I know, one of you will really appreciate that, I'm pretty sure, so I'm filming it for one. For one and all, but for one. Anyone who wants to see it. I hope you're seeing it too. Maybe someone is seeing a good sun. Maybe someone has seen a clear blue sky, and maybe it's come to Leichhardt. Don't know. I don't know. I can only hope. Oh, I've got the camera the wrong way. I'm looking at a reflection of myself, so I've got the video all wrong. I'm so sorry about that. Anyway, they're playing possum again, so, you know, because basically the matrix does tend to be relatively non-stop, like it does tend to be always in action, always in movement, shall we say. Matrix always has a flow of movement somewhere to distract you, you know. I don't mind being distracted by the sun and the bird, but everything else is a negative matrix distraction. And basically an illusion in a way, because a human is not meant to be focused on technology. Human is meant to be focused on that, because that benefits, whereas the technology, unfortunately, regardless of whether you like it or not, it actually doesn't benefit you physically, mentally or psychologically. That's just the reality of it from how I see it. You know, it doesn't have to be as negative as what it actually is, but that's because you have a collaborative matrix around you that is essentially operating negative intentionally against you. That's the problem. It's working against humans. Some people might see that in a bigger picture and say, well, you've created negativity in your life, so now you have to work extra hard to be positive, and we're going to keep that negative at you. Because some people might say even there is a benefit to the negative. Those that are a little bit more at a more less pessimistic level than myself say, because I certainly rarely see it that way. But I'm not saying that there isn't truth to that, because I know there is some truth to it. But that's just how the matrix is allowed to keep going, really, because of that, I think. But it doesn't mean that it's positive, though. It doesn't mean it's a benefit or that it's going to make a better reality. It doesn't mean it likes you. You know, just because technology can be used sometimes for something that might be a benefit to human beings still doesn't mean that that technology in itself is a positive device or a positive frequency. It never actually is. I don't think it can be. Especially if you're in a natural world, as some people still think. So, you know, how could it be? But people think it is. To me, that doesn't quite make sense. But anyway, I better fold up here, and only sorry that I couldn't collect myself better for the video, and that, see, because it wasn't planned, and I'm outside where I'm, you know, facing the matrix a lot more up front, which I don't really like doing because I know they are watching. Whereas even inside, I know it's the same everywhere, really, and they know that I know too. So it doesn't really matter in a way, but at the same time, see if you focus on it and you know that it's negative and you know that people are essentially part of something that is negative, it then makes it even more negative. The whole idea is to try to get past it, to ignore, but as a human being, your senses are there for you to take it all in. But instead you take in negative, and that's just the truth. Anyway, folding up.